Welcome back to another episode of Card Talk, a podcast where we spend just a little bit of time. Maybe we quickly spend some time talking about cards from Lord of the Rings card game. I'm your host, Dave Walsh.
And I'm Ted Bannock, and I am quick to talk about cards.
Are you beaming?
I'm beaming to talk about cards, actually.
Right.
Some would say I'm both quick and beaming.
Maybe you're just beaming. You're not quick.
No, I'm slow beaming.
Don't be hasty, Ted. Let's.
We got a fantastic show for everybody today. I'm really excited for today's show. We do have a wonderful show, actually. And a fantastic card we're going to be talking about. So I'm very excited.
That's right.
But first, David has some really important announcements. He's going to mention some things that he's never said before on the show. And here's a specialized announcement for today's episode. Please, Dave, the floor is yours.
Hey, everybody out there. Have you ever listened to a podcast about a very specific topic? And you've realized that that's Lord of the Rings, the living card game. And then you realize that not only does that podcast have the podcast, but it also has a blog and a live playthrough series.
Whoa.
And then it also has a way for you to support that. Well, everybody out there, realize that you can go to the blog at cardtalk2018.com. And you can support us through patreon.com/cardtalk2018. And you can be a part of the community that we love and adore here at Card Talk 2018. Yeah. So anyways, everybody, thanks, Ted. The point is if you want to read what we write, Matt over at the blog, he's there at cardtalk2018.com. If you want to support us for what we do here, how weird we are, Grant's with us. He hasn't been with us for a while, but he's a grandfather. Congratulations, Grant.
Heyo.
Hey. Maybe you want to support what we do here at the blog, at the blog. Hosting fees just roll over at the blog. All of that helps. Any contributions you have helps us out. So patreon.com/cardtalk2018. And then Ted, let's move on to the card that we are going to talk about today with a quickness.
Yes, with some haste, today's card is Quickbeam, the ally version of Quickbeam, because he does have two versions in the game. Ally Quickbeam is out of the Treason of Saruman expansion. He is a 2-cost lore ally with the following statistics: 2 willpower, a whopping 3 attack, 1 defense, 3 hit points. He's got the trait of Ent. He's unique. He has the following text: cannot have restricted attachments, enters play exhausted. He also has a response: after Quickbeam enters play, deal 1 damage to him to ready him. My God. Ents in heaven.
What do you think of Quickbeam ally, Ted?
He's
all
right. Just put him in your deck and then thank us later. I don't know how. He's pretty much on the border. Like if I'm running lore, it's pretty much an auto include. Like I will put
3
1
attack and lore is pretty good.
He's got 2. His stats are bonkers, and the drawback to Ents are that they enter into play exhausted. Every Ent ally enters play exhausted, his ability is to ready, but he's got 3 hit points. So a lot of people perceive him as just having 2 hit points, right? Kind of initially. But there's so many ways to heal him, with a Warden of Healing or, Aorith or other effects.
As a point of rules, let me bring this up since you said it, Ted, and I don't mean to interrupt. We'll get back to what you said, but if you cancel that damage with like a Honor Guard or some other way to cancel damage, then you can't ready him. It's a cost. The cost of readying Treebeard the round he comes into play is that you have to put a damage on him. So if the damage doesn't get put on him, then he doesn't ready. So if you cancel the damage, then that's so we'll put that out there right from the beginning, is that you can't cancel the damage. You can heal the damage, like if you have a Warden of Healing and you put Quickbeam into play, you put the damage, you ready him, and you use him to quest, like right at the beginning, you can heal the damage right away with Warden of Healing, but you can't cancel the damage. So anyways, I wanted to make sure that was good. So go ahead, Ted.
No, thank you for mentioning that. He's just insane. His 3 attack, you could like blank his other stats. He could be like 0-3-0. And I would still put him in Dex. The fact that he's a 3 attack ally for 2 cost, and you can just, it doesn't matter, he just readies right away. So that turn, you instantly get either 2 willpower or 3 attack, possibly both stats. There's a bunch of ways to ready allies. He's a great target for Leadership Faramir.
Right. Yeah.
The hero version of Leadership Faramir, a lot of people play Leadership Hero Faramir with Ents because Ents are higher statted, and he lets you ready an ally when you engage an enemy. So you can quest with Quickbeam for 2, engage an enemy, ready him, 3 attack. It's just stellar, and the fact that he's Ents, you can fish him out of your deck with the lore event Entmoot, which is a 0 cost event. You have to have an Ent in play to use it, but then you draw the top 5 cards of your deck, and the Ent cards go into your hand. So he either enables Entmoots, or he gets added to your hand via Entmoots. Plus, Lore's got plenty of draw anyway, and Lore can sometimes like lack attack. He's got like hero strength attack for 2. Right? 3, I consider like, if you have 3 in a stat, you're kind of like hero strength.
Right.
Whether it's 3, no matter what stat, willpower, defense. And he just all around good guy, Quickbeam. He's got some synergy with I think the damn bursts too. Lets you ready. That's the one where if you have a unique Hobbit and a unique Ent, you get to ready all your damaged Ent characters. Right. And he also he synergizes with Booming Ent, the tactics ally that gets an attack boost based on damage Ents. Quickbeam gets for free. He gets free damage on him for your Booming.
Right.
It's crazy. He synergizes with all this Ent stuff and has fantastic stats and cost 2. And even if you don't use him for any of that synergy stuff, he's just wonderful stats for 2.
Yeah. And I mean, while we're talking about synergies, hero or ally Treebeard allows you to ready an Ent character. So if you don't want to pay the damage, you can pay 2 on ally Treebeard to ready Quickbeam whenever. Like, the Treebeard allows you to ready an Ent whenever you want. And not that that's unique to Quickbeam, but the point is that we're talking about how important it is to have Quickbeam ready because of that 3 attack and the 2, so it's ally Treebeard allows you to ready him immediately if you need that also. And there's plenty of times, and this is, so the inspiration of these shows has been me playing my Bond of Saga ship deck, and I have one copy of Quickbeam in there because how can you play lore in any sort of deck and not include one, at least, a copy of Quickbeam, and especially with Treebeard, where you can use Treebeard's ally Treebeard with his resources. You can use his resources to, pay for Quickbeam, and then you can use his resources to also ready Quickbeam. It's just, it's just stupid to not include Quickbeam in this sort of deck, So it's like you were saying, Ted. It's just there's just so much synergy with all the different ents. It's like, where do you stop? So you don't have to include Ally Treebeard. Of course you don't, right? Like because Quickbeam works all by himself to do his own thing,
Yep.
And you don't need the Welling Hall Preserver to heal the Ent, because you can use anything to heal the Ent. You can use, all the healing, or maybe not healing herbs. I'm sorry, but you can use any of those things that heal characters, like the Warden of Healing, and
Warden and
like you were
Aora,
saying,
the top two,
right,
for healing allies.
It's a feel bad though if you have to use the Earth, because the Earth heals up to 3, and anyways, but the point is that there's a lot of healing in the game to be able to do this. So, and like you said, to have that defense and 3 hit points, like that's 4. That's a swing of 4 that you can take. Using
he
2
could
defense and 3 hit points. You can,
if you had to, if he was healed up to full and you were in a pinch, he could block a 3 strength attack, and depending on the shadow, if there's no boost, he'll survive that.
Right.
And that's great if you don't have to chump an ally, because then he's still on the table to then heal up and still use throughout the game.
Right, and you can prevent some damage to him, so like you can get up to 4. There's all sorts of great. Because he's got such great stats. Like, why wouldn't you include him into a lore deck? For 2 costs. Like, I think that he would be worth playing for 3. Like, it would be more of a decision to make, but I think he would be worth for 3. And one of the things that I love about this game is the decisions that you have to make. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert at decisions. There's a whole bunch of people in the community that are way better at making expert decisions than me. But I feel like part of the fun of the game is making those decisions. And if Quickbeam was costed 3, I think I would still consider putting Treebeard or Quickbeam in a lot of decks.
Yeah, he wouldn't be. You'd have to evaluate more, and maybe he would only go into the decks that maybe have some of those stronger synergies going on if he costed more. But it's still, that 3 attack. There's lots of other allies. A lot of other allies that have 3 in their stat lines cost 3.
Right.
And this guy, he costs 2, and it would be a different version if a different conversation if he had to stay exhausted. But his ability is to ready, so he doesn't necessarily belong in an end deck. And I tend to run him at 2 cost. You can run him with a single lore hero. Right. It's pretty easy to save. You only got to save up 2 resources to put him out. So he's pretty strong. A lot of people argue that he's better than his hero version, just because his hero version is kind of. I think we did a hero version. I think we covered Quickbeam. Did we not? Okay.
No, it's the only non-unique hero in the game.
That's right.
For anybody who doesn't know, there was a misprint in the original copies of the pack that Hero Quickbeam came out in, and there was no unique symbol, and so there's even some. I know that C-Stan over at Cardboard and the Rings has his triple Quickbeam hero deck.
Yeah.
And so all the heroes are unique. So, but anyways, it was kind of funny.
Yeah. So his hero versions definitely got some uses. I like his hero version.
I think he's
quite
way
a bit.
more niche. The hero version is way more niche. You know,
Yeah,
in a lot of cases, there's a choice whether you're going to run the ally or the hero. A couple episodes ago, we did Pippin, right? And like that's a real choice. You have to sit down and you have to think. You're building a Hobbit deck. Like, am I going to pick hero Pippin or ally Pippin? Like, what are the pros and cons? I think that in general, you're going to pick ally Quickbeam, and then you're only going to pick hero Quickbeam if you're in a certain deck build. Like, and that's it. So I don't think that there's even any conflict here with hero and ally Quickbeam.
Yep.
I mean, when I say any, I mean of course.
Well, there's some.
There's of course there's a couple, right? If you're going to build an end deck, you have to make some choices. But
yeah. But this version of him is so good because he's got such high stats and his ability is just ready, and he's got that, and if he had 2 hit points, he'd still be like a pretty good card because he could still take that damage and stick around. He just wouldn't be as good for soaking archery and possibly defending, but his 3 attack is really strong. Especially in lore, if you're getting 3 attack in lore, you're usually paying quite a bit. I don't even know how many lore allies have 3 attack besides him.
I'll let you know. Keep talking.
Yeah, I was just gonna look it up. Like, I don't think it's many. There's heroes, of course, that have 3 attack, but if we look up 3 attack, lore allies, it's not going to be much. His other text too is he cannot have restricted attachments, which we see very commonly on Ents and Eagles, which just makes sense thematically. And if you could put attachments on him, it would be, or he can't have restricted attachments, excuse me. So if he could have certain weapons and armor and things, it just kind of makes sense. But there are still other attachments you can put on him that are non-restricted. There's End Draft to give him more hit points, and a couple other.
There's only one other ally that has 3 attack in lore.
I wish I could think of who it is.
It's a Gondor Ranger.
Anborn.
That's right.
Anborn's got 3 attack.
Yeah,
he costs 4.
He costs 4. This guy's half the cost, which may be what the algorithm is in the developer's head. Like, oh well, I don't know, but Quickbeam's a way better hero or a way better ally. I say hero.
Like, yeah, there's a card. I was trying to think of attachments that might go on Quickbeam because he can't have restricted attachments. I think no, not Determination.
Valiant Determination.
Valiant Determination.
Sure, yeah, because it allows you to quest without exhausting your ally. I've done that. That's a great for a lore spirit deck. Like, that's great.
Yeah, he's a pretty good target for Valiant Determination because then he can write. He's got the stats. I think Valiant Determination costs 2 spirit resources.
It does.
So you're paying 2 spirit resources to utilize both his 2 willpower and his 3 attack, which is
continually too. It's not just a one-time deal. So
he permanently doesn't exhaust a quest.
Right.
So I think he's a great target for that. It's not
and you also pair spirit with lore a lot. Like, I feel like spirit and lore is kind of a natural pairing as opposed to some of the other,
Yeah,
pairings.
And it's allies like Quickbeam. It's these type of cards that help you, right? Because they help you make up for that attack. I know Quickbeam's pretty clutch in, a lot of Hobbit decks. He adds attack power to weaker statted Hobbit heroes, and he's fantastic in a Fellowship contract deck.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, Fellowship Contract deck has when you have 9 unique characters on the table, you flip the contract, and then all your characters get +1 stats. So you boost him to 3 willpower and 4 attack when you flip that contract, which is just
right.
phenomenal.
Bonkers.
It just feels so good.
Right.
And you're like, attack for 4, and then.
I mean,
But
you
he
can give
feels
him
like
you could give him an M draft and give him a couple extra hit points, and then
Mm-hmm.
like there's some other things that you can give him that aren't unique. That like I don't know, like or not unique, but not restricted. So I don't know. There's just
Yeah, a couple different things you can do with him. The fact that he costs 2, he's a pretty good target. A lot of people use 2 costs for very good tail, too, when you are exhausting allies. So the leadership card lets you exhaust allies. You discard cards off the top of your deck, and just to pull out either to exhaust Quickbeam for a round or just to pull out a Quickbeam. The fact that he costs 2, if you exhaust 4 resources worth of allies for a very good tail, and you pull out Quickbeam and any other 2 cost
right.
character, you've made you're ahead. I think you've done well for exhausting 2 allies to pay for that. So he's an all-around good card. You want to take a look at his artwork?
Let's take a look at his artwork, and then also does this represent who Quickbeam is in the literature?
He looks like he's quickly. He's in like an action running pose, running down a hill, slaughtering some orcs, probably outside of Orthanc, is my guess, like outside of Isengard. So yeah, he looks like a big old ant who is just recently mowed through an orc. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also the stats portray who this guy is in the in the literature. In the literature, when they went to the Entmoot, Quickbeam was the first one to say, yes, we need to be there. We need to attack. Like, I've already made up my mind. That's why he has the name Quickbeam. Well, I don't know if that's why he has the name Quickbeam, but that's the connection.
I thought it was because he was the youngest.
He was the youngest. He was the most impetuous, but like he made up his decision about whether he was going to attack Isengard the quickest. I feel like that was his thing, and so I think that the reader was designed to associate Quickbeam with I made a quick decision, which is a juxtaposition to the don't be hasty of the Ents.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that was the whole thing there. Like a whole literature lesson on Quickbeam being quick to make up his mind.
Yeah, I was trying to look up and see what his age is. But it just says that he's significantly younger than a lot of the elders.
Right. Like Treebeard was the first, right? And then it just goes downhill from there. But in terms of the art, like I look at the art and like, and this, Ted, because we talk about it, off camera and all this stuff. But like I always zoom in on the art whenever we talk about the art because that's
find things
and you see things, and I've always thought this, but I think a bit more now that I'm actually analyzing the card, as I feel like this is more of a Groot card than a Quickbeam card. Like I feel like because of the way the face has the the different things going across, it looks more like a like a growth pattern than a I don't know. It's just looks more like a helmet than I don't know. So to me, it looks like if Groot were an Ent attacking Isengard. And not that takes away from the art, because I think that when you look at the art, one of the things you want from an art piece is for it to be recognizable. And I think that out of all the art in this game, this is one of the most recognizable pieces. If I were to show this versus 9 other pieces of art, this one would be chosen as what people knew more than any of the other ones. You know, like, so I think it's recognizable, but I think it's a little Groot-like from the Marvel universe.
Yes. If you've seen the Marvel movies or the comics, there's some similarities because Groot's a giant like tree person,
Right, right.
giant living
He's an
tree.
ant.
Yeah, so there
Right.
is some similarities because he's also got a slimmer profile, right? A lot of the other ants are big and bulky, and this
Right.
artwork of Quickbeam is different than his hero version,
Right.
and he's much more slimmer, which kind of gives you
His
the
hero version's like a scary version. Like, that's
no.
like Quickbeam, the horror character. Anyways.
But his text actually has some interesting lore about him. It says, "I am Bree Gallad, that is Quickbeam in your language, but it is only a nickname, of course." So I looked that up, and Bree Gallad is a Sindarin name that roughly translates into Quickbeam, as he says in the quote, from Bregol and Gallad, which means sudden and tree.
wait. Galad, like the fall of Gil-galad? Like,
Yeah, like it's according to this little blurb of the etymology. Yeah,
oh,
it says Galad, Galad. Of course, it's in Sindarin, so I don't know if
right.
that makes a
Hmm.
difference, right? Because
And that
there's different dialects, right?
in the movies, I don't know. This is where my brain gets all jumbled up, but and my preparation doesn't include this, but Brago, like Aragorn has a horse named Brago in the movies, so I wonder if that's what did you say the Brago was the part of that?
I gotta go back through here because I was looking to see if there were. I thought there. I can remember if there were multiple languages in multiple elf languages. But no, I lost my page, so now it's lost forever. We'll never know. No, here it is. Bregalit. Bragol. Bragol.
Okay. What does it mean?
It says sudden and tree, and I assume that means
Sudden.
respectively. So Brago
Right.
translating to sudden,
Sudden.
and yeah, Galad meaning tree.
Tree, right? Huh. Well, it's very interesting. Like, for anybody out there that doesn't know, Tolkien was like one of the most renowned philologists of his day. Like, philologists are people who study the written language, and like, so like for him to come up with these names was probably always intentional, right? And that's that meme that's out there, like, hey, I have a language, now I'm going to create a world to surround the language, as opposed to every other piece of literature out there. You know, Tolkien created a language and was like, let me come up with the lore behind this language. So
pretty cool stuff. Let's put them through the ringer, eh?
Put them through the ringer. We have a highly scientific yet arbitrary system, Ted. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. Well, highly scientific and arbitrary, where 10 is the card that we throw back into the chasm from whence it was came because it's not very good. And a 1, that's one ring to rule them all. It's the best card in the game, or one of the best cards in the game. And Ted, I will allow you the privilege of going first. What do you think?
Yeah, very kind of you. He's like a super good lore ally, so 2. And I'm almost leaning on 1 because he's as far as lore ally goes, he's probably the best. There's a couple of really other good ones, but they're a bit more costly compared to Quickbeam. So I'm gonna for sure he's 2 for me.
Okay, well, here's the thing. When I think of lore, I think of tricksy stuff, right? And so I know that we can talk about sphere bleed and we can talk about all these crazy things that have been addressed time and time again through other places. And so I think what makes Quickbeam so sexy, quote unquote, is that he's just like he's
look
just
at those branches stemming off him.
right? Stats on a stick, right? Like you're just like, okay, here I go, boom, stats, good. But in terms of like him as a lore ally, I mean, and I'm not trying to, ditch on Quickbeam because I love him. He's great. He's powerful. He's all those things that you want. But as a lore ally, like when I think of like Mirkwood Explorer, like
sure,
that card is super powerful, but in a tricksy lore sort of way. Like you gain that extra resource and then you can clear locations super straightforward. So I think that, when I think about Quickbeam, yes, I love to include Quickbeam in my decks, but I don't always include Quickbeam in all my decks that have lore because I always think of lore as the tricksy sphere and I want lore to do the tricky things. And so if I need lore, if I need attack, I'm using some other sphere to do that, right? Like I'm not using lore to get my attacky cards out there. But I can put a copy or two of Quickbeam in any deck. It's not restricted to just an Ent deck because he's so good. So I'm gonna just give Quickbeam, instead of the Ted, you said 2. I'm gonna say a 3, leaning towards 2 because he's that good. But I think that, like, if you were in any other sphere, I'd probably give him something. I'd probably pull the 2 on him, but because he's in lore and lore means something a little bit different, I feel like he has to go a little bit away from that power.
I get it. The way he fits into the rules of the sphere, and that's kind of why I think he is so good, because we just looked up, like, the only other one is Anborn, right? So just like, boom, Quickbeam, 3 attack, done, lore. I don't have to look at other spheres. So, if you haven't put them on the table, give them a try. I tend to run at least one in a lot of lore decks. Like I said, he's pretty easy if you're just splashing in lore. So give it a go.
Give it a go. And with that, everybody, we'll see you next week and have a great day.
Do you love the content? Here's what you can do to stay connected. Become a patron. The money collected through Patreon goes into keeping the lights on here at the podcast. We love our patrons, and you can join at many different levels. Visit patreon.com/cardtalk2018. You can subscribe to us, whether you're watching our YouTube channel or you're listening to us in your favorite podcatcher. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications of all our new episodes. Didn't know we were an audio podcast? Find us by searching Card Talk to get access to our 120 plus regular episodes. Didn't know we were a video channel? Find us by searching Card Talk LOTR LCG on YouTube. And there you can find not only our regular episodes, but you can find our bonus playthroughs and other content related to the game. Want to get a hold of Ted, Grant, or myself? Feel free to email the podcast at cardtalk2018@gmail.com.